Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Sue Morter from Morter Institute. It's lovely to be with you today. I want to talk to you about something that everyone is asking about in lots of different arenas. I shouldn't say everyone, but lots of people are asking about this in different arenas in my world. And it is how to activate the pineal gland. People want to know, how do I activate my third eye? How do I see interdimensionally, see the multiple levels of my own being, etc.? How do I awaken? Now, isn't that the question, right? How do I awaken? So I'm going to speak to you about exactly what that means. So the pineal gland is something that resides inside the center of your brain. If you took and cut the head open this way, open the brain, right in the center right here, there would be a little cave, like an indentation, so that when you put that back together, it would be a cave inside the brain. And inside that cave, sitting in the back of the cave, is a little pineal gland. It looks like a pine cone, and it's sitting back in there. And it's a gland that is not particularly active in most people's lives, and it is there awaiting activation. But the way that we activate it is significant relative to the experience that we will have. So everyone always wants to know how to activate it, because this pineal gland is made of light receptor cells that are rods and cones, just like in your eyeball. But there's no window to the outer world, so it's always been perplexing to scientists until now, where we have advanced in our technology enough to recognize that the light that these rods and cones are being activated by is not the light that we're used to seeing here with our physical eyes, but a higher frequency energy that is being perceived. So we would call that energy energy from the divine. But what it really means is, what divine really means is it's sacred, which means it's from beyond a realm higher than this one, a higher frequency realm, invisible light. And so we exist in all realms. We exist in the invisible realms as well as here in this physical realm. Our physical version of us in this physical realm is this body that we know ourselves to be within. And so the pineal gland is there perceiving this higher frequency version of who we are. So the higher self can be perceived this way. The soulful self, the rest of who you are, is perceived through this pineal gland, as well as many other avenues in our system. So people want to activate this. In the 60s and 70s, it was activated with LSD and common and frequent visiting of things like mushrooms or psychotropic drugs or ayahuasca. These kinds of activities are becoming popular because people want to know, how do I perceive myself beyond this physical version of me? People want access, and so they're going about it in these outside-in kinds of fashions. And I have no problem with that. In fact, I would encourage it in a sacred manner in which there is integration, in which there is enough circuitry in place for one to be able to perceive what they're going to start perceiving as this third eye starts to open. The pineal is considered the third eye. It's actually the first eye, in my opinion. It's the one that is holding the space for my multidimensionality and allowing me to come into this physical realm without forgetting who I am. But for most of us, we land, we splat, we're here. We have no access to the circuits to turn this on, to open this up until we do. So one of the things that I'm teaching in a responsible fashion through the energy codes is how to build the circuitry to stabilize your whole system, so that what the pineal gland is sitting on inside this little cave inside the brain is stable. So that when you start to perceive these higher frequency energies, you have the stability to interpret that energy in a fashion that serves you rather than stresses you or destabilizes you in any way. So the reason that the third eye isn't open for most people is because we're not ready for it to be open. It opens when it's ready to be opened, and that can take a maturation process, a spiritual acclimation process, an awakening with our consciousness to a degree that we are more stable in this life and we can handle things. So if you find yourself irritable, flashy, short-tempered, if you find yourself not sleeping well, agitated easily, depressed or anxious, if you're in those kinds of states, I really don't recommend that you try to get your third eye to open, because it will destabilize you even more. So here's what to do. We have to find ways to stabilize our system. Now, that's what I'm teaching in the energy codes for a variety of different reasons, for a variety of different people, but the process is common. In other words, some people come because they're seeking spiritual awakening, the opening of the pineal. Some people come to the energy codes and are studying it from a standpoint of, I have chronic illnesses or issues with my health that I just want to heal. Other people come because they're interested in just an integrative process between spirituality and science and building a bridge for all those aspects of their lives and other reasons as well. So just know that if you're interested in opening the pineal, the energy codes is a way to do that safely and responsibly and to get a stability happening with your system so that as that starts to open, you have the capacity to translate the information that you are perceiving. Being able to perceive it without being able to translate it through the circuitry that is supposed to be in place before it opens would cause you to not be able to interpret what you're perceiving. If the circuitry is not in place, you won't be able to interpret what you're perceiving. If you begin perceiving things with the third eye, and most of the people that are in our energy codes community in one form or another have some aspect of this opening starting to happen. So the way to support that opening, the way to stabilize the opening, is to build the circuitry in the body so that you're already in a stable state, so that as you start to perceive more through the opening of this pineal gland, the activation of this pineal gland, it serves, so that by the opening of it occurring, you're able to perceive life beyond this 3D world alone. Because trying to operate from a 3D world alone is challenging. It becomes stimulus response, mechanistic. We start questioning if we're ever going to win the battle. We perceive it as a battle, and life goes on from this perspective that is quite challenging for many. So they start to seek. Many people seek spiritual study. Many people seek counseling from a psychological standpoint. Many people seek some of the more radical, cutting-edge kinds of things along terms of taking ayahuasca or taking some kind of psychotropic medication for assistance in that process. I just want to encourage you that the number one thing that you can do to stabilize yourself is build the circuitry to support. You want to be able to have the chakra system, the levels of consciousness, active and alert and engaged and integrated with each other so that those energies are contributing to a filtering system that your body actually is that allows you to take this immense amount of information and filter it and translate it down through your body so that it's digestible, and as it rises up through the body again to the consciousness, that your consciousness can perceive these ideas as brilliant and holistic and wholesome and sacred and divine rather than just radical and unattached and disintegrated energies which can provoke you in quite the opposite direction of why you started seeking in the first place. So this is the explanation for the person who has a bad trip on ayahuasca or has a bad trip on whatever they may be taking. So the whole idea is this: let's stabilize and make sure that we have the circuits in place so that as the third eye begins to open and perceive these higher frequency energies, that it is able to stabilize you in this world and cause you to want to be here and lead and be engaged in projects with community and other people, rather than it causing you to disconnect and not want to be here and disassociate and destabilize yourself in any way. I've worked with lots and lots of people, and those that build the circuits are the ones who are successful in the opening of their third eye by whatever means is happening in their lives. And building that circuitry is what the Energy Codes coursework is all about. So I cannot encourage you enough to engage, because as you do build the circuits and your third eye does start to open, the pineal becomes active. What that means is that you're able to perceive yourself with a greater sense of well-being. You're able to understand who you are and your connectivity to all of humanity and the entire cosmos. You're able to be the individual expression of the divine and of God's source energy here on the planet that you're meant to be. And as you do so, you start to solve the issues that you came here to solve. You start to heal woundedness that is experienced from an upbringing that maybe wasn't so pleasant, or a young adulthood that has been filled with trial and error, or a life in general that has been challenging. We're here to turn that into something profound. We're here to turn it into something beautiful. We're here to live as this cosmic being here in the physical dimension. So how to begin to activate it? You first might want to increase the alkalizing content of your diet. You might want to learn how to build the circuits inside the Energy Codes coursework that will stabilize you no matter what, that allows you to heal the destabilizing angsts and anxieties and angers and grudges and frustrations that we carry, because those kinds of energies keep the third eye from opening. The system is built to not open that until you can handle this. And ironically, at the same time, if we can open that, we can handle this better. But we have to go about it in a collaborative kind of fashion that is not pushing the river or putting the cart before the horse. So first things first. And at the same time, learn to breathe in such a fashion that has you anchored at the base of your spine with Mula Bandha that you learn in the coursework, and anchoring in your heart space and finding that space behind the eyes. And allow, if you just roll your eyes up right now, allow this space behind the eyes that you can feel because of the tension that you can feel. That space is right where the pineal is located. And then you can relax your eyes, but breathing into that area allows you to start to illuminate and activate this. Breathing up and down the central channel. Come to the website, find the central channel breathing, find Body Awake number 8, and stacking up the column so that you can stack up this energetic system in such a fashion that it has a chance to stabilize your third eye before you start working with that alone. Activating the third eye alone without building your stabilizing presence is not the most responsible way for you to engage in trying to find access to your wholeness. It's right there waiting for you. But if it isn't happening, that it is being activated, then perhaps you're going about it from the outside in instead of from the inside up as it's intended to be. And I encourage you to do so, because, as we begin to open in our third eye area, we're no longer trapped by our primitive brain and our personality and our defense mechanisms that have been governing us all of our lives. We're available to love and available to flourish in abundant ways that we are built of and made for. So I encourage you to be in this in such a fashion that will allow you the outcome that you're looking for. Because life with your pineal open and active is one of wisdom. It's one of courage. It's one of collaboration. It's one of divine love. It's one of appreciation and gratitude. It happens automatically because you see the beauty in between the lines and in between the segments and the circumstances that are the gross, dense, obvious physical world. You see the nuances that translate to life is meant to be in this way, that you're being divinely guided and supported all the time. So as the pineal opens, we have this sense of self that is connected, that belongs, that is engaging. And life without that is a little painful. So this is what I'm teaching in the Energy Codes coursework, to allow you to learn how to responsibly activate the pineal and everything else that is required for you to be able to translate what you'll be perceiving as it begins to open. So I'm hoping that this is helpful for you to put in perspective that you are meant to be in this place of all-knowingness, and there is a way to do it that isn't the jumpstart, give it to me quick right now, but rather will allow you to have it in due time, in actually a pretty short order, that you will begin experiencing life completely differently, because you're animating from more than just your 5 senses and allowing the 6th sense to be an active and engaging aspect of who you are every day. So blessings to you all. Check it out. Again, it's Body Awake 8 on the website. And most importantly, find yourself in the coursework and learning how to have it all, not just the pineal, but every other aspect of your system that is allowing you to translate your cosmic identity right here into your physical dimension human self. So love to you all. Many, many blessings, everyone. Namaste.